Well, the calendar may say early March, but the blue skies and sunshine overhead would tell you it's the heart of spring here in Arizona. This afternoon, your Texas Rangers take on the Chicago White Sox. One of the great things about spring training is the fan accessibility for the players, and they get a kick out of signing autographs. Hanser Alberto doing the duty beforehand down the right field line for the Texas Rangers. And he will be on the bench as this game starts this afternoon. And welcome in, everyone, for the first time this year, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Delighted you could join us. A great day here in Arizona. Hope all of you back, especially in the Metroplex, where points east are safe and sound, because I know it's been tough back there. But, Tom, it has not been tough down here for the Texas Rangers. They're off to a great start. Everything seems to be clicking nicely.
It really does, Buzz. And, you know, we've been around baseball for a long time, and you have the same great feeling when you report to spring training to get the season started. And it's been one of the most exciting springs that I can remember for the Rangers. Everything is clicking. They seem to be picking up right where they left off last season when they won the American League West Division. They've led Major League Baseball the first week of spring training in batting average. They're getting 10, 15 hits a game, 17 hits yesterday. The pitching's been great. The thing that I've enjoyed is, I've only been here one day, but I've read about it before then. Once you get to about the sixth inning and they bring in the minor league players, it's all over, because ours are way better than anybody else's. That part's been a lot of fun to watch. We'll talk a lot about those kids today.
Yeah, Ranger, of course, this third best minor league system in all of baseball this year. Jeff Bannister and his club getting set to play their 9th spring game. We'll be back to Surprise, Arizona right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. To the Surprise Arizona Recreation Campus here in Surprise. And beautiful afternoon. The Red Hot Rangers in front of a nice crowd on hand on this Thursday afternoon, getting set to take on the White Sox. And with Chicago in town, Tom Greaves is going to tell you about the White Sox lineup this afternoon.
A couple familiar names in the lineup, some guys you might not have heard much about, starting with the leadoff hitter, center fielder Jacob May. Carlos Sanchez is the second baseman. He'll bat second. Todd Frazier, newly acquired Todd Frazier, will play third base. The first baseman batting fourth is Travis Ishikawa. The right fielder is Avisail Garcia. Catcher is Alex Avila. Left field batting seventh is Jerry Sands. The DH is Courtney Hawkins, and batting ninth is the shortstop, Tyler Saladino.
And that lineup will face the 25-year-old right-hander Nick Martinez. Nick, of course, out of the Miami, Florida area, and via Fordham University. Nick, who got off to a great start last year. You remember, he was the Ranger Player of the Month in April, went 2-0 with a minuscule 0.35 ERA. What a way to kick off his 2015 season. And didn't quite continue that way, which you can understand why. Now the defense behind him this afternoon, the outfield, Ian Desmond in left, Delino DeShields in center, Shin-Soo Choo is in right. Chris Jimenez has started first. Pedro Siriaco and Elvis Andrus up the middle. Drew Robinson at third. And Robinson Chirinos is catching for Nick Martinez. So ready to get underway. Our first televised look at the Rangers for 2016. Rangers come in at 6-1-1. That is the best record in Arizona, the second best record by just a half game in all of baseball this spring. Rangers leading the world in hitting. They're hitting .368 as a team. The White Sox second here in the Cactus League with the .308 average. So they have swung the bats extremely well. Jacob May, if you think May is a familiar name to you, you're right. His grandfather, Lee May, Mo is the guy's called him. Great slugger for Cincinnati and Baltimore. Carlos May is uncle. Carlos, longtime White Sox outfielder. Ian Desmond toward the gap, moving over Delino DeShields, and they lose it in the sun. It falls. It's going to be extra bases for Jacob May.
Ian Desmond, Buzz, hadn't had a fly ball.
Yeah.
he had the ultimate fly ball for his first chance, right in the middle of the sun, right off the bat. And welcome to play in the outfield in Arizona with a high sky and the bright sunshine. Got an idea where it is.
That will not be the last one we see like that. It may be the first one, but
no, that's one of those balls. It doesn't matter whether you're playing left field for the first time or whether you played out there for 10 years. Those kind of balls that go in the sun are very, very tough to handle.
That's going to be ruled a double for Jacob May, so he starts things off out at second base. And here's Carlos Sanchez, a switch-hitting infielder. Sanchez off to a good start this spring, hitting at .429. Jacob May with that gift leadoff double out there at second. Nobody out, just underway here in the top of the first inning. No balls and a strike. White Sox, as we mentioned, a .308 team average. They are 4-2-1 on this young spring training. 43 runs scored for the White Sox, so they are moving around. They lead the league in home runs. They have a dozen. And Robin Ventura's club has had 12 different men account for those 12 home runs. ERA, though, rather unsightly at .581. Rangers have the best ERA in the Cactus League. They're at .338. That's going to get the job done by moving the runner from second to third as Sanchez grounds out to Pedro Siriaco. No, one gone now with May over at third, and Todd Frazier, who Tom talked about, one of the new White Sox with 20 different players than they had this time last year on their 40-man roster. They have turned it over at a 50% turnover. Todd Frazier coming over from the Cincinnati Reds, one of the big additions. They like the way he's going to fit in right in the middle of that lineup. Jose Abreu, their big young slugger, not on the trip today, but certainly Frazier and Abreu forming a pretty good 1-2 duo in the middle.
Yeah, they've definitely got some possibilities. When you look at Adam Eaton, their center fielder and leadoff hitter. Terrific potential to get on base and score runs. You had a run producer like Frazier, and then you hope for the development of Avisail Garcia to go along with Abreu, and their offense could significantly improve.
White Sox finishing fourth in that Central Division last year. And but for the people that pay attention to these things. They've been prognosticating the Central Division, one of the more intriguing divisions this year, with the improvement of a couple of the teams, and also the Kansas City Royals, the world champions, leading that division. Detroit's come back. They look to be improved. They had a down year last year, which surprised a lot of folks. Minnesota looks to have improved, and of course Cleveland and the White Sox are touting how well they've improved.
Yeah, Minnesota stayed in it for quite a while last year. They've got a good number of really fine young players developing.
Infield in, and Frazier will get the job done as he drives one to right. Chu is back and up against the wall, makes the catch, and they will tag from third and trot down the line. The White Sox have a quick 1-0 lead on the sacrifice fly by Todd Frazier.
First baseman, number 64, Travis Ishikawa.
Well, Frazier with his third RBI in the spring, and Nick Martinez maybe can take a little consolation in the fact that he could have been out of this inning already had it not been for the ball lost in the sun. Here's Travis Ishikawa coming over from the National League. Ishikawa, you remember, with the San Francisco Giants, didn't have a place there to play. He had spent time moving around. Pittsburgh last year, his last stop. 2 balls, no strikes. White Sox, like a lot of teams, trying to build up some depth. Ishikawa part of that, and the infield depth, a good first baseman, a good glove at first base. Signed Austin Jackson just the other day as some depth in the outfield. 2-1. So my imagination, Tom, there are a lot of teams that are really making a concerted effort to add depth.
Yeah, I think it's always been the case with starting pitching for sure. But I think what teams have realized is injuries play such a huge role in who wins the division. Having excellent depth to draw from throughout the course of the season is one of the things that determines whether you're successful or not.
Nice attempt by Pedro Sariaco. He had to go a long way to his right. You saw that shift that the Rangers had on, and that was one of those balls off the end of the bat that went against the shift. That would be right at a normally positioned second baseman, but not in the shift. That's one of the ones you can't account for when you shift. So the second hit of the inning with 2 outs now. Ishikawa at first, and Avisail Garcia, the right fielder. Boy, this guy, it seems like he's been around 5 or 6 years. He hasn't quite, but he's only 24 still. White Sox, with a lot of high hopes for him. Came over from the Tigers. Had kind of a rough go at times over there, and he fit right in with Chicago. They would like for him to be a little more of a patient hitter. They felt like he was swinging a lot last year, 257 average, but on base percentage you see down there 309. They would like for that to improve a bit and feel like it will when he gets to know himself a little bit better.
Well, he had 550 at bats last year. He's only 24 years old. He's got exceptional physical skills. Reminds a lot of people of Miguel Cabrera, both in his physique and actually his facial features look a lot like Cabrera as well. But you'd have to think if he's going to develop into a really good player, that last year was a good stepping stone for him. Statistics were mediocre, but he played every day. And if he has that kind of ability, maybe this might be one of the guys that has a breakout season.
2 balls, no strikes to him. That's in the gap in right center field. Chu can't get it. It's all the way to the wall. Ishikawa motored around third, being waved home. Here comes the throw. It's not in time. And Ishikawa sliding across home plate. The second run of this inning, the White Sox have a 2-0 lead. That ball was blistered into right center field. No chance for Shin-Soo Choo to cut it off.
Well, the way he hit that ball looked a lot like Miguel Cabrera as well. That inside-out stroke, and the ball jumped off his bat. Shot by Chu out in right field. Good job of hitting.
That swing looked an awful lot like Cabrera's too. No, 3 hits in the inning, a couple of runs across. Still 2 outs. Here is another former Tiger, Alex Avila, veteran catcher. He and Diana Navarro have come over to the White Sox. Giving them a pretty good tandem behind the plate. Robinson Chirinos throw down a second. He's just trying to get his arm loose. Nobody was covering the bag, and Elvis over there behind the bag took the throw almost into center field. Alex Avila, no hits in A games this spring. He's 0 for 5. 2 balls, no strikes. And we mentioned Nick giving up the Sun gift double to start things off. Gave up the run. He got 2 outs, though, with a run across. And now all of a sudden has given up back-to-back hits. Infield single to Ishikawa and the run-scoring double to Garcia. Reno. One part about spring training that pitchers deal with early in the camp is how to gather themselves and put a stop to an inning. It seems like it spirals out of control in spring training more frequently than it does during the regular season. You're not quite in competitive mode yet. If you get in the regular season, you have an idea of what you can do and what you're supposed to do, and your timing's a little bit better, your command's a little bit better, and you can put the brakes on an inning. But spring training, it seems, especially early like this, it seems like that they can jump on you and the gates open a lot more quickly.
And some pitchers have the luxury, say a Cole Hamels, of just preparing for the season. They show up, they've got a program, the results are insignificant. They want to be ready for their opening day start. Other pitchers, like, say, Derek Holland, he has the rotation made, yet at the same time, because he's pitched infrequently the last couple of years, his outings are critiqued a little bit more critically than someone like Cole Hamels. And then there's a guy like Nick Martinez, Chichi Gonzalez. They don't have the luxury of getting ready for the season. They have to go out and compete right now for that 5th starter spot. It's available. There's a number of candidates. And you know, if they're going through what you just mentioned, Buzz, they just have to figure out a way to overcome it, because this is kind of mid-season competitive form, and they need to be in spring training, and that's pretty difficult when you're first starting off and building up your arm strength. But that's the way it is for them right now.
Now the Rangers' new pitching coach, Doug Brocail, I'm sure going out there to offer his expertise to Nick Martinez, see if he can't get him over the hump in this inning. Yeah, 2 on and 2 outs. Brocail, the former Astros pitching coach. Of course, he pitched for the Rangers a couple of years, in 2004 and 5. Veteran right-hander, now handling the pitching coach job. That ball's blistered to right center field, up the alley, and deep. At the wall, it is gone. Jerry Sands going opposite field. A 3-run blast, and the White Sox lead it 5-0. Sands with his first home run of the spring. White Sox with their 13th of the year.
Designated number 83, Courtney Hawkins.
Well, both Sands and Garcia in this inning have gone the other way with a lot of authority. Garcia just didn't get his ball up in the air. Might have had the same distance to it. This ball from Sands, pretty much the same pitch, a fastball out over the plate. Over down to the bank out in right center field.
Now the DH, Courtney Hawkins, up there. Look at Jerry Sands' extension in that swing. Boy, he got those hands through the hitting zone, and that bat head made solid contact, barreled it up, as the players say. Hawkins limited duty this spring, just 0 for 4 last year at Birmingham, which is Double-A for the White Sox, a .243 hitter. In the dirt, got him swinging the throw, and that will take care of it. But the White Sox make a lot of noise in the first. They have 5 runs on 4 hits and nobody left after a half inning. Chicago 5, the Rangers coming up.
for that matter. So now, with the installation completed, it'll be ready to go by the exhibition games against Cleveland. A brand new video board. It's about 100 feet long. The one in right field's 125 feet long. This one's 100 feet. A little bit smaller, but all those folks will get a replay and a score. And, John, how about some new lights at the ballpark?
Wow, that's amazing. By the way, that's a bigger TV than I got for my birthday, so I'm just going to say that. But, yes, the lights, I've seen them. A couple of other ballparks have gone to them. The LED lights are special.
Yeah, and now not only home run will be special, the ballpark with fireworks and other things, but the lights are going to be special.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Chuck Morgan will make the lights and the new scoreboard sing. It will all add to the experience for the fan at Globe Life Park in Arlington, and it all gets started at the beginning of April when the Rangers come home from spring training. But for now, they're still there, still playing spring training games, so enjoy baseball and go Rangers.
John, we're to look forward to that on April 4th, opening day, and here it not something that Nick Martinez cared to see again. 5-0 the White Sox in the first. Rangers coming to bat here in the bottom half of the inning, and Tom will tell you now about the Rangers lineup.
For the Rangers, it'll be Delino DeShields leading off in center field, followed by Shin-Soo Choo. Ian Desmond, the left fielder, will bat third. Adrian Beltre is DHing this afternoon. Elvis Andrus bats fifth. The catcher, Robinson Chirinos, will bat seventh. Getting the start at third base is Drew Robinson. Chris Jimenez is playing first base today, batting eighth. And the second baseman competing for a utility role on the ball club is Pedro Siriaco.
Well, that's the Ranger lineup here this afternoon. A lot of, about two-thirds you can expect to see on opening day in that lineup. And, of course, Delino DeShields. And he is having a great spring so far. He is 5 for 10. And he has driven in a couple as he takes a strike from Jose Quintana, the crafty left-hander. 32 games last year, 9-10, but with a fine ERA, 3.36. Over 200 innings pitched and 177 strikeouts. I guess when you're on the same starting staff as Chris Sale, you kind of get overlooked sometime. But Quintana, very much a quality pitcher for the White Sox, as DeShields grounds out to third for out number one.
Yeah, I was looking through their media guide, Buzz, and you won't find a more consistent pitcher over the last 3 years. He's won 9 games each year. He's thrown 200 innings, 200 in the third, and 206 innings. He's had about a hit per inning. Good number of walks, 56, 52, 44, and about the same number of strikeouts, between 164 and 175 strikeouts. So he's a guy that's going to give you 32 starts, throw 200 innings, be very competitive.
Yep.
Kind of guy every manager wants in his staff.
I guess you want to.
He is the kind of guy you forget about. He's going to go out there and do his job every time.
Shin-Soo Choo. A little late on that swing, and Choo now down to the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, you know, Quintana, I'll kind of get off that in a second as Choo steps back in, but not only overlooked, but he provides a stabilizing factor in that in the White Sox rotation too. Gives you the 200 innings, but you also know he's not going to miss a start. He's going to go out and give you quality innings each time out. And he's left-handed, and that, along with Sale, gives you a pretty good combo of left-handers.
As you look at the Rangers staff, and one of the keys is the health and performance of Derek Holland. And if you look at what Quintana brings to the party, that'd be exactly what you'd love to see from Derek Holland.
Yeah.
Get 32 starts, throw 200 innings, and be competitive start after start. If Derek can do that, then he can be that kind of steady guy in the middle of the rotation, which is exactly what you need.
Right field, boy, there's all kinds of sun trouble out there.
See, now that's bad luck.
Yeah.
Both guys lose a ball in the sun. One ball's foul and one ball's fair.
There he stands out there. He didn't come as close to it as Ian Desmond did. He was going to back off that thing once he lost it. That's got to be a bad feeling. You're an outfielder, you kind of camp under the ball, you think, and all of a sudden it goes in the sun.
Well, once you know you can't catch it, you're pretty sure you're in the vicinity. Then it's just a matter of getting out of the way so you don't get hit in the head.
2-2 to Choo. And he thought he'd try it again, but that's out of play.
can remember playing out there when the sun is like that, and the only thing going through your mind pitch after pitch is, please don't hit it out here. Please keep it on the ground. Don't hit it to me.
It's like playing at Globe Life Park in the middle of the year when the first inning, 7 o'clock starts. That sun is blaring out there. Now 3-2.
In 1973, I guess it was, when Whitey Herzog was our manager, we had Alex Johnson and Rico Cardi predominantly played left field. I played occasionally in left field. But we had a number of doubleheaders that started late in the afternoon. And because it was a sun field, Whitey wouldn't play those two guys in left field. Those are the starts that I got.
Sands going back and plays this in side saddle so that sun doesn't come into play for him. And Chew a long out going the other way.
Yeah, he got a chance to learn from the first one that went foul and then played that one very well. Got the sunglasses all the way down, obviously. They don't use the flip sunglasses much anymore, but watch him go after this ball. He's underneath it, battles the sun, and makes the catch.
Not 2 up, 2 away. Here is Ian Desmond. Both Tom and I impressed yesterday about Ian Desmond hitting a rocket against the Cincinnati Reds down in Goodyear. Boy, he had a line drive that got out of there in no time.
That's a great addition to the lineup to have a dangerous right-hand hitter combined with all the left-hand hitters in the lineup.
That ball high in the air and deep to left center field. Sands shading his eyes on the track, makes the catch, and Desmond a long out. Rangers gone in order. We played an inning in surprise. It's the White Sox 5, the Rangers nothing. Spring training baseball is live with the MLB.com at-bat app. And stay connected to all spring with radio broadcasts and video highlights, stats and news, and a lot more. Just download MLB.com at-bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball for your smartphone or tablet. Now, Nick Martinez out for the second inning. Had a rough first inning, faced 8 hitters, and gave up 5 runs. First pitch to Tyler Saladino, and he got him right on the knuckles.
That's the pitch, Buzz. In his first few starts last year, we saw one right after the other. Those first excellent starts that Nick had, he was able to run that fastball in just like that to the right-hand hitters and knock the bat right out of their hands. That's one of his keys, to be able to locate the fastball with that kind of movement, get the batter to swing at it and make very, very poor contact.
Now back to the top of the order, Jacob May, who had the Sun-gifted double as he led off the first inning. Yeah, you know, and that's one of the things, Tommy, especially in spring training. You go out after giving up 5 and you make a pitch like that and you say, now why didn't I do that last inning? It's almost like you forgot.
Yep, there it is.
It's a little frustrating, but you learn from that and move right on. May now 4 out of 11 this spring as the left-handed hitter takes ball 2. White Sox and Rangers play 2 series, a home and home, coming up during the regular season. Jimenez to Martinez covering for out number 2. Rangers go to Chicago the end of April. And then 2 weeks later, the White Sox come into Globe Life Park in Arlington. They're a 3-game series. And that's it. Rangers are finished in the second week of May seeing Chicago. I still have a hard time believing the season series is over for any team in May. The first month, or first week, I should say, in May. Just doesn't seem like it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah, with the teams out of your division, we only go there one time every year. It used to be you'd go once and then follow it up with twice the next year, but it's once every year now.
Carlos Sanchez, switch hitting infielder, grounded out to second his first time up. Good breaking ball that nibbles on the inside corner. 0-2. White Sox playing a split squad today. The other half of the squad is over at the White Sox Camelback Ranch Park. They're taking on the Kansas City Royals. And this one is managed by Robin Ventura. This half of the split squad. Just a little bit high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. White Sox today with 3 more extra base hits already. They were 3rd in all of baseball in extra base hits coming in. They're sneaking up that ladder as that pitch is fouled off. Coming into play today, the American League leader was Detroit with 39. White Sox now have 36. They have been laying the wood to the ball, as have the Rangers. Still a ball and 2 strikes. That's on the roof, apparently, that some balls decided to stay up there.
Must be Velcro.
Defies gravity, doesn't it? Two and two. Carlos Sanchez, one of 5 infielders, make that 6 infielders that made the trip over here today. And the count goes full. Well, with 2 outs, Sanchez trying to get aboard Todd Frazier, the 3rd baseman, will be next. Martinez with a payoff pitch. Right center field. That is down. Over to cut it off, Chu. Going for 2. Here comes Chu's throw. It's a good one, but too late. Chu made a strong, accurate throw right on the money. But Sanchez able to make the turn at first, and he put the Jets on. Got in with the 4th extra base hit of the afternoon, a double to right center.
Yeah, Sanchez's game is speed, and that's a good gamble. 2 outs, nobody on base. Try to take the extra base, get in scoring position, get thrown out. Not that big a deal in that situation. Nice aggressive play, and paid off for him.
Yep. Now he puts himself in scoring position for Todd Frazier, one of the guys that you would count on to drive in runs. And Frazier did just that in the first inning as he had a sacrifice fly. Nick back to the stretch, and first pitch is popped up. Got that pitch in on him pretty well. Viriaco backpedaling, and he puts it away. That'll do it. So the 2-out double, no damage, as Sanchez is left stranded. 1.5 in the books. Rangers trailing 5-0. Calendars on April the 19th. That's a Tuesday. The Astros are in town. Rangers take them on. And the first 15,000 fans get a Jeff Bannister bobblehead commemorating his 2015 AL Manager of the Year award. That's courtesy of AT&T. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com and help congratulate the Rangers skipper. Well, what a nice honor and a well-deserved honor for Jeff Bannister. Ball club coming back, making a 180. 1st of August, and made up 9 games on first place. Ended up winning by a couple of games over the Astros. Maybe one of the best comebacks I can remember, considering where the ball club was at one point, pretty much buried. And they said, nope, not us.
Yeah, there were some times, April and May, where it was hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Sure was.
There may be a couple of people, maybe they had uniforms on, that saw that second half coming. But I have to admit, at times in April and May, I was not one of them.
No, nor was I.
More credit to the guys that went out and did it.
Boy, and that's tough too, going to the ballpark, and it is not beyond the realm of possibility that you know going there you're not going to win, no matter what, and that's an awful feeling. Beltre will ground out. One gone here in the second. And I know, Tom, you and I have been on clubs that felt that way going to the ballpark sometimes.
Yeah, the difference between some of the ones that I was on is our guys that were playing bad didn't have any hope of playing good, playing well. At least with the Rangers, one thing that it could hang some hopes on, you could say to yourself, well, Chu is not going to hit 100 after he hit 100 in April, and Beltre is going to get healthy, and he's going to start to swing the bat. And, you know, we had good players who just weren't playing the way they were capable of early in the season, and the fact that they turned it around and started to play well shouldn't have been a shock. It's just when you're watching it happen the way it was in April and May, even though you know that about those players, it's still tough to see it coming. It's tough to predict it's going to come. We all get kind of caught up in the moment. When you win 5 in a row, you're the best team in baseball. You lose 5 in a row, you're the worst team. And as much as we try to avoid that with our experience in baseball, you fall into the same trap that the average fan falls into.
Sure.
Pretty much putting everything on the team with what you see right now. And that's why Jeff Bannister was the Manager of the Year, because he led his team out of that abyss that they were in and turned it into a winning season.
Here's Elvis. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now 2-1. Elvis having a good spring in 8 games this year. He's 4 for 6. He has been one of the Rangers, just blistering the ball down here in Arizona. He's reached safely in 7 of his last 9 trips to the plate. 2-2. Boy, Elvis, much to his credit, too. He must have had the question asked of him when he first got down here in spring training from local media and, teams, other teams' media and what have you. What about last October? What about the game in the 7th inning in Toronto? And to Elvis's credit, he never shied away. He stood right up, answered every question, and you've got to admire it. Adrian Beltre said something about, in defense of Elvis, not in defense, I should say, in complimenting Elvis, that he did not hide from anybody. Adrian said, he really showed me something. If you can show Adrian Beltre something, you've done some pretty good things.
Well, you know, both Adrian, who's obviously a veteran, Elvis is a veteran too, but hasn't played quite as long as Adrian. They had the benefit of being around Michael Young, and if there was ever been a player who didn't shy away from the bad times or the good times, it was Michael Young. He was there front and center after every single game, no matter what. And I think Elvis probably watched Michael and knows that that's the way you have to handle yourself as a professional, and he did it right in Toronto right after that game. And I agree with that question, Buzz. I think if I had to pick one question that was asked of me the most often during the offseason, was pretty much the same question: is Elvis going to be all right after that game? And you know, he's has strong character. And the other thing I think that happened is his teammates rallied behind him too. They know the kind of player he is and how well he is playing. His defense in the second half of the season was terrific last year. Just one of those games. It's just you can't fathom it. You can't pinpoint what could have happened. 2 easy plays that you boot all in the same inning at the wrong time. Just, that sometimes all you can say is that's the way it happens in baseball sometimes.
Yeah, and you hate for it to happen to you.
Yeah, you hate to happen at that point in time and that critical point of the season.
Hate for it to happen to the club, not just the individual.
The other side of it is it wasn't the ninth inning, and even if those plays are made and the Rangers get out of that inning with a 1-run lead, there's no guarantee what would have happened in the last 2 innings anyway. It was a terrible inning, and obviously it was an important inning, but there was a lot more things went on in that game than just those two plays.
Right center, Garcia to his right, and that'll do it. So Jose Quintana, 6 up, 6 down. Rangers go in order for the second straight inning. We finished 2. White Sox leading 5-0. A little bit better than what we saw Yu Darvish last year about this time. Darvish on the brink of having Tommy John surgery this time last spring training, and not this year. He is working himself back into being a valuable member of this rotation in about 6 weeks or so, I would guess. Maybe 8 weeks. Darvish on the throwing program. And one thing about Tommy John surgery, you don't have to worry about what kind of a rehab pace you're going to be on. It is down pat now. They can tell you virtually every single day what you ought to feel like and what you ought to be doing. And Darvish, by all accounts, right on the money as far as his rehab is concerned.
And I guess, Buzz, because of the track record with that rehab, teams are able to avoid rushing a guy who says, hey, I feel great, I feel great.
Yep.
But they know what the timetable is. Doesn't matter how you feel, this is the way they're going to do it, right?
That's right. They put the ropes on him and hold him back, because you know that if you hurry it, even if you're feeling great, the results are not going to be good.
Yeah.
You know, it's you're taking a chance you don't need to take. And Darvish has said, hey, I feel like I could throw 95, he said the other day. And Doug Brocail and Jeff Bannister had a big lump in their throat after that. Said, no, back off here, big fella.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's contributing to the positive vibes in spring training right now. Last year it was Darvish getting the Tommy John surgery. Now it's anticipating his return from it in sometime in May. That's going to be very exciting.
Ishikawa ropes one up the middle.
Umpire had to do some agility and get out of the way of that rope.
Well, Ishikawa, a leadoff single. That's his second hit of the afternoon. He singled and scored in the first.
You know, Buzz, the other thing with Tommy John surgery, you look at Martin Perez, and you know better than I do, but most people will say it's the second year after Tommy John surgery where you're back to normal, and if that's the case, then this should be a positive experience for Martin Perez this year as well, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I thought what we saw from Martin late in the year last year, he was just starting to get everything back together. Yeah. And I think, yeah, that's a great building block for him to come into this year. And even as good a pitcher as Yu Darvish was, he's still going to have some of those struggles when he first comes back. Consistency and, there's part of it that we don't look at necessarily as fans or as broadcasters. Guys coming back, the mental part of the game has to get back in shape. and that usually lags a little behind the physical part.
How much of it has to do with the confidence that you have that you're not going to get hurt again?
Yeah, well,
you have to go through that.
Yeah,
too?
you do. You have to get past the point of saying, okay, if I let this go, is it going to break or not? And you have to get over the idea that, okay, here's my best fastball, my arm's going to stay attached, and I'm going to be okay. But that's a lot easier said than done. But then, getting yourself back, and Tom, I'm sure everybody, you included, have gone through this before. You get out of the idea of what do I do as a competitor? How do I compete exactly? That mental part of the game that really has to get back in shape along with your body. 2-0 the count to Garcia. Now 2-1. But it's interesting, boy. That's an innovation. The late Dr. Frank Jobe started that with Tommy John back in 1974, and it has saved innumerable careers. I saw a statistic about how many there have been for professional pitchers, and staggering.
Yeah, in the old days before Frank Jobe's surgery.
There's a rope to left center field. That's going to be up the alley. Off the wall, Ishikawa being waved around third, and he will score. Another ringing double, producing a run for Avisail Garcia, and it is 6-0 Chicago.
Well, Ishikawa's going to beg out of this game halfway through. That's the second time he's had to score on an extra base hit by Garcia from first base. Garcia has ripped one in the gap to right center field. This one he turns on, hits it equally as hard to left center field. What good-looking swings by Avisail Garcia.
Well, that's going to do it for Nick Martinez. Got to the 48 pitch level. That'll do it for Nick here this afternoon. Goes 2 innings plus. Pitching change underway. We'll be back to Surprise, Arizona right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Well, welcome back to Surprise. It has been all White Sox so far, and Nick Martinez gone for the afternoon. Joining us now in the booth, and it's a great pleasure to have Ken Rosenthal here. Kenny, thank you very much for coming up. We appreciate it. It's good to see you. Of course, Ken, one of the stars of the Fox Sports presentations each year. I had to say that for you. It's okay.
Oh, I appreciate it, Steve. I don't know if I go that far, but thanks.
Oh, goodness. You see a lot of different things in spring training each year, and I guess this year has been no different. Yeah, I guess you have to filter out who's really for real and who's kind of a spring training story that's not going to last. Is that the kind of thing that you kind of get used to seeing and judging for yourself?
Yes, although I would never pretend that I have anything close to scouting evaluation type ability. I don't. That's not what I do. And frankly, as the years pass, and I've done this a long time, I've kind of come to understand that what we see here is not predictive of what we're going to see during the regular season. It's as simple as that. Cole Hamels can pitch poorly 6 straight times here and come out opening day and pitch great. So you do have to take everything you see with a little bit of a grain of salt. At the same time, there are always fun stories that emerge. Guys that you didn't think had a chance to make a team and suddenly do. And the test then, for a writer at least, somebody like me, is to temper yourself and not get carried away. I will admit to have been carried away in the past with certain players.
Ken, Buzz and I were talking earlier in the game about the Rangers season last year and how poorly they played in April and May, and both of us needing to admit that we didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And you've seen a lot of baseball. I know this is a tough question to answer when you ask it this way, but it's hard to think of another team that looked that bad and then won a division. Have you ever seen any team that might have rivaled that?
It is a tough question. I don't know that I could answer it.
Did you see the light at the end of the tunnel for the Rangers last year?
And in
Let's
fact,
put it that way.
when they traded for Hamels, I was still thinking what they were saying, which is, okay, this is not just for this year, but also for the future. I remember one year, one of the good Yankee teams, one of the teams that won, started off really poorly. But really, it was the first half for the Rangers. And once they made the trades, and not just Hamels, but the deals that fortified the bullpen, it became a different team. And that team, guys, I know you've seen a lot of Rangers teams and some great ones in recent years, but that was one of the most fun clubs to be around, to watch play. I thoroughly enjoyed the division series with the Blue Jays and them, just because of the quality of the competition. It was awesome to watch those two teams go at it.
We've been talking about the depth in the Rangers minor league system. There's so many times you look at who's going to help your team during the season, and they're minor league free agents. They're 30 years old. They're going to be in AAA. The Rangers now in the 5th inning, if you've seen the Rangers, you've already seen the guys I'm talking about, these young prospects who are 21 to 24 years old that are going to be in AAA. They're not the A-ball guys. These are on the verge of helping the big league team. Have you seen any of those kids?
I've not seen them personally yet, but I know exactly who you're talking about. Mr. Mazzara, Mr. Gallo and company, and we're adding Mr. Profar, it seems, and it's exciting to see him back up. What happened to him has been so unfortunate, and that is a guy that I really want to see succeed. He was one of the shining lights of the minor league system, not just for the Rangers, but in all of baseball, and obviously he's a guy that has still great potential. Now, as far as their depth, that's a great thing that they have, and the nice thing about young players, and we know this, they have upside. The 30-year-old guy, you may know what you're going to get, but it has a certain ceiling. And with a Mazzara or a Gallo, who knows what might happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Rangers kind of got a taste of that with Joey Gallo. Ranger fans got a little bit of a taste of that with Joey Gallo coming up, and Gallo going crazy for 2 games, and then all of a sudden fell on, hey, you're the big leagues type of deal. Guys started working him over pretty good. Couldn't make the adjustments right then, and that's a little disheartening for fans if they let themselves get caught into that. But I think you'd have to say, looking at Joey Gallo, there's a lot more than what we saw last year.
Oh, absolutely. And Steve, one thing I've learned over the years, and it's hard to understand this and it's hard to grasp it sometimes, but prospects do not necessarily develop in a linear fashion. It's not an upward progression. Tom, you know this better than anyone because of what you did as a GM. They go up, they go down.
Yeah.
Sometimes they stay down. Sometimes they come back and really become great players.
Unfortunately, there's been guys like A-Rod and Ken Griffey that have had that linear progression, and you hope your guy's going to do the same thing. But more often than not, you're exactly right. That's wishful thinking.
And that's why they're A-Rod and Griffey. They're the exceptions. They're amazing. So, obviously, some of these guys, Gallo among them, are going to come up. They're going to succeed. They're going to fail. But at the same time, to have all those players, especially having them after making the Hamels trade and depleting yourself a little bit and still having that group, that's pretty good.
Has any, not just focusing on the Rangers, have any young players that you've seen in spring training stood out to you?
Does Carlos Correa count as a young player?
We'll still count him.
Yeah. He's one. I haven't seen all that much. I left Florida right as the game started, got here a few days ago.
How about in Florida?
In Florida, the team that stood out to me a little bit, and they are young, is Tampa Bay. And they've always had good pitching. Well, they have good pitching again, and they have depth, more depth than they've had in the past. And beyond that, they've done some things to fortify their offense. I don't know that it's going to be great, but it's going to be better than what they've had.
Kenny, can you hang on with half more inning? We appreciate it. All right, well, a couple of runs across. The White Sox laying it on the Rangers right now, 7-0.
Of in-park entertainment at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Chuck Morgan. But what you may not have known until this point is that Chuck Morgan is also the red dot. Are you kidding me, Chuck? You're announcing names and running down between innings to be in the dot race?
John, that might be true, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm excited about the promotion schedule this year, and fans better, I may have to issue a ticket warning on this one, an advance ticket warning. We're giving away for the first time in history dot bobbleheads. The blue dot on May 29th against Pittsburgh. The green dot on July 31st against Kansas City. September 3rd when we play the Houston Astros. We're giving away the red dot bobblehead. John, you better get your tickets early.
There is no doubt about that, because the dots are going to be racing each and every one of those nights. You're going to want your dot. And if we're telling secrets, that's Chuck. That's actually Pudge Rodriguez, and that's Mark McLemore. So now you know the whole secret. Now you can wager wisely as you... Oh, wait. No wagering, please. But
no wagering, please.
Dot race each and every night at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Now you can get a dot. Go Rangers.
Leading on to the Rangers.
All right, John, thank you. I'm sure that fan out there may have a few dots on that particular refreshment.
He's not worried about the score.
I wouldn't think so, not right now. As soon as the ball's hit out there, though, he's going to come awake very quickly. Now, the Rangers need to come awake with the bats. They are down 7-0 after 2.5. Kenny Rosenthal from Fox joining us in this. And, Kenny, let's get to the Rangers and the Western Division. A lot of folks are saying, well, the Western Division, for the most part, is pretty competitive now, all the way top to bottom. Would that be your assessment?
Yes, it would. And certainly the Rangers and the Astros are the two favorites, and justifiably so. Both playoff teams last year, both teams that have seemingly improved, and I see a good race developing, particularly if Darvish comes back and is Darvish. Now, it's the other teams that are somewhat mysterious, and I'll start with Seattle. I was talking to some Rangers people today, and they think Seattle looks good. I don't know if it's just their AL West paranoia or if it's real. With Seattle, I want to see it to believe it. Every year is a different mix there, and it never seems to work. Now, I like Jerry Dipoto, their new GM, a lot. Scott Servais, obviously you guys know him well from here. He's going to be an interesting choice as manager. But they've brought in so many new players and done so many different things that may take some time to develop into what they want it to be. Oakland should be better. I see them being maybe a 500 team at best. Their pitching should be better. Their bullpen, they've brought in Madsen, brought in Axford, Doolittle's healthy. Okay. And then there are the Angels, and that's a team that I have a hard time reading. I don't see them as being a contender. And it's not the left field thing so much, although they certainly have not addressed that beyond Nava and Gentry, who are off to good starts this spring, by the way. But the pitching depth, they know they think they have it. I'm not sure it's as good as they think it's going to be. And the Jared Weaver thing is a legitimate concern. I was there yesterday. He got hit hard through about 80-81. So we'll see what happens there. But every year, guys, you know this too. There are surprises. Players get hurt. Players get traded. Things happen.
Sure.
It's really difficult to predict, and I've stopped trying.
No, the Angels is one thing. Oakland scares me to death. Billy Beane has pulled off too many miracles in the last decade or so for me to complete. I love to write them off and say, no, they're rebuilding again. Well, their rebuilding teams a couple of years ago won the division going away.
Right, and they never quite rebuild like some of those National League teams are rebuilding. They never tear it all the way down. And it's interesting. I wrote a little note about them, I think 2 days ago. They actually have a position player roster crunch, which you wouldn't expect from Oakland, but they have a number of guys. They brought in Chris Davis and Coghlan, and it's created this squeeze where some good players might actually get sent out. So their position depth is good. the rotation is going to be a question. I wrote about Rich Hill today. Apparently he got shelled today. But he was a great story down the stretch for Boston last year. If he can come in and be a quality guy with Sonny Gray, then you have something. And Henderson Alvarez, that's the other one. They are expecting that he's going to come back and be a solid contributor.
You hear, I wouldn't say it's a controversial topic, but you hear it talked about in the offseason, the teams that are pretty much going back to square one. Some people have termed it tanking to rebuild. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. And in my view, Tom, tanking is too harsh a word for what they're doing.
I agree.
And frankly, they're simply rebuilding, and rebuilding in the best way that they can right now in the sport under the rules that the collective bargaining agreement gives them. Now, could you take the CBA and do some things to incentivize winning more? Yes, and that I expect could happen and should happen. But tanking is a pejorative term. It's a negative. And I don't know that you can say it's wrong what Milwaukee and Atlanta and Philadelphia and Cincinnati are doing. And in fact, in a couple of those cases, Philadelphia most prominently, it's what their fans had wanted them to do for many years. So there's only one #1 pick. You can't tank for the #1 pick and have 5 teams get it. So we'll see what happens. But I can see where they could fix the CBA a little bit, tweak it a little bit, but I don't see it as this industry-wide scourge. No way.
Well, when you look at the success Houston had, they essentially did the same thing 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
It's tough to say it's not a good plan.
Exactly. And the problem that has developed is that while the draft has always rewarded losing teams, to have now the accompanying bonus pool money and to have it structured that way, it's kind of a double incentive to lose. But at the same time, even Houston, okay? 3 #1 picks, #1 overall. One of them was Carlos Correa. They hit on that one. One was Mark Appel. Didn't hit on that one. Had to trade him. And the other one, the third one, was Brady Aiken, who had a medical issue and that didn't produce the desired result. Now, in some of those cases, they did well below because they had the pool money. I get it. But what I'm saying is, we know this. The #1 pick does not assure any team of anything.
It's not football or basketball.
Correct.
Yeah. No, and that's what tanking would have to be a 3 or 4 year long thing to make it worthwhile for you if you're going to do that part of it.
And that's painful. And Philadelphia is not going to do that. They have too much money to do that. Atlanta is not going to do that. They're moving into a new ballpark next year. They want to be better, at least on the upswing as they go in. Now, Milwaukee and Cincinnati, it may take longer, but both those teams are owned by 2 of the more competitive owners in the entire sport. Mark Attanasio in Milwaukee is really competitive, and so is Bob Castellini in Cincinnati. That's why it took the Reds so long to start this process. So I don't expect, Steve, you're right, for this to be a 3 or 4 year process.
And the fan bases, I think, would wear thin. You can understand that for 1 year, maybe. Okay.
It wore thin in Houston.
Yeah.
And there was some question whether they would come back. Obviously, they've built a really exciting team, and it has.
That's going to do it for the Rangers here in the 3rd inning. Kenny, thanks very much. We have enjoyed the visit. Wish we had more time to talk. We'll catch up with you down the road sometime.
Sounds good, Steve. I'll see you guys the first week of the season.
All right, great. Thanks very much. We finished 3 here in Surprise. White Sox laying it on the Rangers 7-0.
ATD Big League Week.
So we go to the top of the 4th inning. There's your list of flavors that are available here at Surprise Recreation Campus. If you can get on out here. 7-0 White Sox. Rangers still looking for their first hit. They've had one base runner. That was on an error. And we head to the top of the 4th inning. Sam Dyson, sinker balling right-hander on the mound. And Sam, well, last year, coming over to the Rangers in the end of July, 31 ball games, a 1.15 ERA. He was about as good as you could possibly have hoped for. 30 strikeouts in those 31 innings, and the man that brought him over joining us now in the booth, that would be the Rangers president and general manager, John Daniels. John, we were talking a little bit about Cole Hamels, the deal that brought he and Jake Diekman over, and Sam Dyson kind of snuck in there. You guys had to feel pretty good about what you got from Dyson.
He was outstanding. I mean, our scouts liked him. We liked a lot about him. But then when he went out and did what he did, I mean, it was, as you said, probably even better than we could have expected. And he's been tremendous this spring, too. First spring with him, the work ethic. Probably one of the strongest guys in camp. Gets after in the weight room. You wouldn't necessarily expect that, but really diligent worker. Good thing to see.
You know, we talk about, you know, I guess the direction that baseball has tried to go for the last several years anyway is building a bullpen that can shorten ball games, 6 innings or so. Rangers now have that theoretically, on paper certainly. Kansas City has had it. The Yankees look like they're having it. Getting more and more that way in baseball, more teams making a concerted effort that way?
I think so. I think some of it goes with, you know, there are more and more guys that you can lean on for that. I mean, the velocity is like you've never seen in the game before. Yeah. It feels like everybody that comes out of a bullpen can throw 94, 95 plus. You have all these sports science stuff, all these throwing programs. Guys are throwing now, whether that's tied into all the extra Tommy John issues that we're having too. You know, that's a bigger issue. But I just think you have more and more guys that can do it. It's a way to build a club. Our thought was, you know, we felt good about the back of the bullpen. Can we go strength on strength and add to it? You know, Wilhelmsen, Barnett, give Banny more options. You know something's going to happen, unfortunately, right? Whether somebody is an injury or somebody stubs their toe, try to give Banny as many options as possible. He can mix and match and keep guys fresh and feel good about it.
When you look at those guys, John, there's probably 6 or 7 of them. They've been predominantly 1-inning guys. Are any of them the kind of guys you look at, well, this guy can be stretched out to give us 2 innings, more of a multiple inning guy? Or you're going to have to have a long man somewhere, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a great question. We're actually going to meet tonight, kind of first staff meeting after a week or so of games, talk about some of that, who's kind of narrow the list down a little bit. We won't have a big group of cuts. We'll probably get into that a little bit. Wilhelmsen's a guy that has shown he can maintain his stuff and go multiple innings. You know, Diekman did it in the playoffs, but I don't see necessarily using him like that over the course of the season. In spurts, he can. Most of these guys are. You know, the young guys coming up that have been starters, Faulkner, Luke Jackson. You know, if they're on the club, I kind of feel good about them doing it. But the how we use the bullpens, the Keela, Tolly, that group, probably view those guys more as 1-inning guys.
Now, you brought a guy over that was in Japan, Tony Barnett, who has not pitched at the major league level, but shows the ability to work multiple innings if you so choose. Is that the kind of guy you might consider for a role like that?
Maybe. I think we got to get to know him a little bit first. You know, first impression's been outstanding here. I shouldn't say first impression. We've had scouts that saw quite a bit of him, but first impression from everybody getting to see him in person, the staff, he's made a big-time impression. He's got that kind of more Japanese style pause in his delivery for some deception. He holds his hands down at his right hip in his delivery. He's got a four-seam, a sinker. He's got a cutter and a split. Actually, I've seen him kind of move it both ways. So he's got a lot of weapons on top of the deception. He did not have a lot of success as a starter here originally in the D-backs organization. So most of his success has been in 1 inning. I think he has the ability to go multiples, but it might be something we have to see over time.
2 gone here in the 4th inning is Sam Dyson just going out and throwing that power sinker and mixing in a changeup and a little breaking ball here in spring training.
John, not to change the subject away from the bullpen, but you don't have to spend much time in spring training to be pretty impressed with the guys that come into the game after the 5th inning for us. You got to be pretty happy with what you're seeing there, aren't you?
It's fun. Michael Young was saying that it kind of reminds him of 08-09 when the second wave was Chris Davis, Elvis Andrus, Mitch Moreland, Justin Smoke, Craig Gentry, and you could see Phillies, Holland. You could see, or we already have a good core, and this is the group that's coming. You know, kind of the full second team almost. You know, it's like a line shift. These guys have played great, and so that is exciting because I think some of them have a chance to help us early. Some of them have a chance to help us later in the year, but certainly, you know, they're going to be here for some time. So you can see what the scouts saw in them: the size, strength, speed, athleticism. But I think our coaching staff's done a tremendous job throughout the system of getting these guys to, you know, turn that talent into skills.
It's pretty nice when you get midway through the season and you look to where you're going to find your players from at AAA and they're 22, 23 years old. That's pretty much unheard of in today's game.
Yeah, and you know, some of these guys have a chance to break with us, so I don't want to assume they're all going to be down there. But if you could have a situation where, you know, whether it's running around the diamond, Gallo and Profar, Alberto or Robinson, you know, Rue or Kivlahan at first, you got Rue or Kivlahan in left, Brinson or Jones in center, Mazzara in right. I mean, it's a full team.
Yeah, usually those kind of prospects are in A-ball, not in AAA.
Yeah, no, we're proud of that group. It's going to be fun to watch them grow.
Quick 3 up and 3 down. John, can you stay with us for another half inning?
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. So Dyson gets the job done. We finished 3.5. It's the White Sox by 7.
And Rob, I know among the other things like the scoreboard and the new lighting system, there's also an exciting project on the horizon, Texas Live.
Absolutely, John. Texas Live is a partnership between the city of Arlington and the Cordish companies out of Baltimore, who are one of the preeminent developers in the country. Texas Live will be a $200 million project that will include 100,000 square feet of world-class entertainment, retail, and dining. Adjacent to that, we've committed to build a minimum 300 rooms in an upper upscale hotel and an additional 35,000 square feet of convention space. This will be built on approximately 7 acres on the north end of Lot A, which is just across the street from the first base gate at the ballpark.
And if fans have ever been to St. Louis, for example, they have something very similar outside that ballpark.
Exactly. The Cordish companies developed the ballpark village concept there, which has been open now for 2 years, and they've annually had more than 6 million people visit Ballpark Village in each of those first 2 seasons. We're really excited about this.
And you break ground this opening day and hope to maybe get it up and running by next opening day.
That is our intent. Yes, it's about a 12-month build-out on the live piece of the project.
That's awesome, and a 300-room hotel in addition to that. So that's coming to a ballpark near you. For now, it's back to baseball. Go Rangers.
Leading off the Rangers, the right fielder, number 17.
Well, great afternoon here at Surprise Recreation Campus. Great afternoon for the fans. However, the Rangers not enjoying it so far. 7-0 White Sox. White Sox about hit the Rangers 7-zip. Fans, though, concerned with a few other things right now. They'll get this Ranger ball club going here shortly. And we're pleased to have John Daniels with us, Rangers president and general manager, and we're talking a little Ranger baseball, Ranger organizational baseball, and saw that Major League Baseball, MLB.com, said the Rangers in the rankings, third best organization, third deepest organization. That's a little low as far as I'm concerned with the prospects that you have at the top.
You know, I guess I view that as long as we're up there somewhere. I mean, it's all somebody's opinion right at the end of the day. And it could change so much year to year just based on who you graduate and who you trade. But we're really proud of what we've got going on. Put our scouts and our coaches and staff up against anybody at the end of the day. I think they've produced time and again.
Especially when you make the trade for Cole Hamels, some teams would go from 5th to 25th if they lost those 5 guys.
Yeah.
We didn't skip a beat.
And those guys are real. I mean, Eichhoff and Asher have already played in the big leagues, and the other ones will. I mean, we knew that at the time, obviously, and you know, part of it hurts to see that talent there, but feels a lot better. That hurt goes away every 5th day when Cole pitches, or when Diekman comes out of the bullpen.
Right. We didn't even, I'd never even heard of Diekman when he came over. All of a sudden, the guy sounded like, I don't know if he was to you guys, I'm sure he wasn't, but a throw-in in the trades throwing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, he was outstanding. We tried to get him the year before. I should say earlier in the year when they sent him down. They sent him down in May. He punched out 100 guys in the bullpen in 14. And then they sent him down. He struggled in May, and that's when we tried to get him. But they wisely held on, rehabbed his value, and he came on strong. By the way, it never fails. We're rolling through teams here. First game on TV, we're getting no hit and give up a
All I'm saying
5 spot.
I'm picking Jose Quintana for the Cy Young this year if he could shut this team down.
No kidding.
The way they've been swinging the bats.
He's one of those guys that seems to have our kryptonite. Him, Iwakuma, there's that list of guys that seems to have our number.
It's funny. What I remember the couple of times that Rangers have gone into Chicago and faced Sale and Quintana. Quintana's pitched great. Sale's gotten ripped. The Rangers have really jumped on him. Quintana, it was like they switched uniforms.
I know. Quintana's more the pitch mix, movement, and Sale can overpower you. But I do think our guys have. We've always had a line of guys that can hit the fastball.
Right.
For decades, this club has had one. And so a guy that kind of tries to overpower us, that's usually the kind of performance where our guys step up on.
Looking at, we were talking about the health of the ball club. It's been good. Prince Fielder, you'll find out some more about Prince when he comes back, probably tomorrow or Saturday.
Yeah, I think he's flying back now. So we'll probably get with him and then get back with the media tomorrow.
Desmond, another rock. This one.
Got to give that one a hit, right?
I would think so.
So, we'll get some information out on Prince tomorrow. I think the trip was a good thing.
Sure.
I didn't talk to him, but it sounded like Prince felt good about where things were and had some answers. So that's all we're hoping for.
And we want to remind folks, we were talking about Prince Fielder went back for a sleep study back in the Metroplex, and he was having a little trouble sleeping down here. So, and wisely, I think, on your guys' part, said, hey, we have time right now. Let's do it. And get it out of the way.
Let's just nip it right here and not let it become an issue during the season.
So we'll find out about that. Overall, though, the club has had pretty good luck health-wise compared to past years.
Certainly coming off the past couple. 2014, we set every record in the book, and we put it. We put them far out of reach. Nobody's going to catch us with DL days, players on the DL, dollars spent. We've got them all. And then last year, obviously, with Darvish and Holland on opening day. So, things can happen. We understand it. Hopefully, we built enough depth that if we do have a hiccup here, we can understand.
That's out number 2, and Desmond down to second. And he's in scoring position for Elvis Andrus. Now, how about the pickup of Ian Desmond with late, September, I should say February 29th. He kind of fallen off everybody's radar as far as fans are concerned, and all of a sudden you come up with it.
Yeah, and there were a bunch of guys this year that were out there late. Austin Jackson landed here with the White Sox, and Fowler and Gallardo was still out there late. We talked to ownership about some of those guys. If they fit for us. We actually had interest in Ian right out of the gate in free agency, but we didn't have his position open at shortstop. We still don't, and we didn't have the dollars necessary for what we thought he was likely gonna get. But we expressed interest, and when he came back to us late in the process here and said, hey, listen, I know it's going to be a one-year deal at this point. That's probably the best thing for me. And I want to be in the right spot. I want to be in Texas. Mark DeRosa was really big, I think, in kind of pitching us to him, knowing, he and Michael are really close. Obviously, D-Row played here for a period of time, knows a bunch of people here. And then once he was willing to play left field, it came together quick. Ownership stepped up, and the deal got done. And really happy. Obviously, the physical talent, but the makeup appears, from all reports we had early, and now appears to be off the charts. Tony Beasley's another guy that knows him really well from their days together in Washington.
And the Rangers are going to get on the board as Elvis gets the RBI single. Desmond scoring. And it cuts the lead to 7-1. Elvis with his second RBI of the spring.
Quick story on Ian Desmond. He showed up. He came out here Monday night. It's Tuesday at lunchtime. We're in the food room, and just kind of we're sitting at different tables eating. They had a game on, and it's the Phillies are playing, and Odubel Herrera hits a double in the gap, I think, and then so it sounds off. But they show a kind of a highlight spotlight on Odubel's face, at second base, and he pulls up and. Behind us, Desmond yells out, "Nice job protecting this guy." Like, Jesus, make yourself at home. Feel comfortable, why don't you?
Yeah, that's how good our system is. We didn't have room for him.
The new guy's ripping me like a day into camp.
Well, it shows he's got a pretty good baseball IQ that he even knows
How many people would even know that?
That's right.
Robinson Trinos trying to add on for the Rangers. Gotten a run on 2 hits, their first 2 hits of the afternoon, coming in this 4th inning. Talking with John Daniels, Ranger general manager, and John, the turnaround last year, you would say, well, the ball club, in some estimations, lucky to get that done, but that's not the feeling you got when you're around the club. That's got to be a good building block for the 2016 season, having that experience.
I think so. I mean, just kind of something to fall back on. Hey, if we can overcome, the injuries and the rough start and the whole deal, we should be able to get through whatever adversity presents itself this year. I got to tip of the cap to Banny and the coaching staff and the veterans on this team. The tone that they've set, the chemistry in the clubhouse right now, as good as I've ever seen it.
John, thanks very much for joining us. We appreciate it. We will catch up with you as time goes on. We'll have a little better broadcast for you and turn the score around.
A little better start to the game. Thank you.
7-1 after 4, Rangers and White Sox. Papa John's and the Rangers have teamed up. They're going to honor club history every Thursday this season. Collectible Throwback Thursday pins. First edition honoring the Rangers' first game in 1972. Be given out for the first 10,000 fans at Globe Life Park. That's coming up on Thursday, April 14th. Rangers take on the Baltimore Orioles. You can get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS. The Rangers gear out here in surprise, as you would expect. A.J. Griffin, 28-year-old right-hander, has come in now. He becomes the 4th pitcher used this afternoon by the Rangers. It's been Nick Martinez, Chad Smith, Sam Dyson, and now Griffin. Griffin, of course, came up with the Oakland A's 3 years ago and really shined at the big league level early, and then he was beset by all kinds of arm problems. He underwent Tommy John surgery and had a devil of a time coming back from it, and finally has himself back to what he says is close to 100%.
Well, he could be a wild card, Buzz. Maybe not to start the season, but who knows? But definitely during the season if he's healthy, because he was a good pitcher for the A's. We saw him a number of times. And in those about a year and a half, he had 15 starts one year. He His opponent's batting average was around 230. He's not a hard thrower velocity-wise. He's got a good assortment of pitches, good off-speed pitches. Knows how to pitch. He can get people out, boy.
A good example there. Even though he hung a curveball, still got the fly ball off Todd Frazier's bat because of the change in speed. That's not where he'd like to throw it all the time. But he does have the quality pitches, like you were saying, Todd.
He's still young. He's got a track record, and all you hope for him is that he's healthy. He can get his feet under him, get some innings in spring training. And if he doesn't make the team, hopefully go to AAA and be ready. And Ian Desmond. There it is. Get that ball. Get that ball. Throw that ball in.
Yeah, that is his first catch out there. We won't count the sun ball that afflicted him early in the ball game. That doesn't count, but made quick work of that fly ball from Todd Frazier. Travis Ishikawa is the hitter now. And that's one thing, Griffin's pitch right there, the straight changeup. It seemed like Oakland brought guys to the big leagues 4 or 5 years ago. Every single one of them had a quality changeup. Sonny Gray still has one.
Jared Parker.
Healthy. Griffin. Boy, they all could dazzle you with a fastball changeup repertoire and then mix in something else. But that's a great way, I think, for young pitchers to develop a feel for pitching faster by just using fastball changeup than anything. Ishikawa, a couple of hits and a couple of runs scored here this afternoon. And he's going to make that a 3-hit day as he pounds one to right for a 1-out single. 9 hits for the White Sox. I think that 8 hits. Avisail Garcia, who has 2 of those hits now, will face A.J. Griffin. Griffin grew up in the San Diego area. Same area that Cole Hamels did. Griffin went to Grossmont High School in the San Diego area. Also attended the University of San Diego. Nothing in 1. Garcia, a couple of run-scoring doubles and 2 runs scored this afternoon. And he has been on a pretty good tear. He is now 9 for 16 this spring. Mentioned all the extra base hits for the White Sox, 36 of them. And Garcia with 2 today, adding to that total. Heard John Daniels talking about, I guess it was Ken Rosenthal talking about the addition of Austin Jackson to the White Sox lineups, and folks were wondering that would that spell an end to the defensive assignments for Garcia. White Sox were not happy with his defense, but the quick answer to that is no, because they have guys that are going to be DHs full time for him. They can't really afford to have Garcia be the full time DH. They're going to have to find some other way to work out the at-bats for all those guys.
Yeah, I think with Garcia, he may end up someday being a DH. I don't know, but when he's only 24, I think you just have to work with him a little more and hopefully turn him into a better defensive player.
Slowly hit to third. And Drew Robinson able to show you a pretty good arm over there to get Garcia down to second. Goes Ishikawa. He's there with 2 outs now, and Alex Avila coming up.
Catcher number 31, Alex Avila.
Garcia got down the line pretty well. And Drew gunned that ball across. But strong arm.
Rangers have some young third basemen that can throw the baseball. If they have trouble hitting the curveball somewhere down the line, they can sure learn how to throw one. They've got that kind of quality arm. Joey Gallo and Drew Robinson come to mind very quickly. A couple more that we've seen. Alex Avila 0 for 1. A walk and a run scored and a ground out. Nothing in 1. Going back to A.J. Griffin, what you're talking about, Tom, with the 2 years in Oakland. In 2012, he was 7-1. He broke on the major league scene with a 3.06 ERA. The next year, prior to his injury, 14-10 in 32 starts for 200 innings, and then really didn't pitch the next year or much last year. He tried to come back last year and had all kinds of problems with the rehab assignments and getting into ball games. Just wasn't there for him. Shut it down, and now he has gone ahead and signed with the Rangers on kind of a make-good deal. Let's see if he can get it done. And I guess all indications from down here in spring training is that he looks very good. Maybe behind everybody else a little bit stamina-wise, but boy, the way he's throwing the baseball, everybody's really encouraged. Twisting out of play down the left side.
Well, the Rangers have certainly had a great success from Kobe Lewis, and Kobe at this stage of his career is a guy that doesn't light up the radar gun, but gets by with the ability to mix pitches, speeds of pitches, all different kinds of off-speed pitches. And so when you see a guy like Griffin, who, you know, might throw around 90 miles an hour, 88 to 90 miles an hour, you don't worry about it quite as much because other guys have track records of being successful just like that.
You drop that hook on the outside corner, that's going to freeze a lot of guys. And Griffin gets it done. No runs, a hit, one left halfway through the ball game. 7-1 Chicago.
Emily Jones here with Jamie Reed, jack of all trades for the Texas Rangers. One of your most recent projects, the new facilities here in Surprise. What's most exciting to you?
Really proud of the new clubhouse, the weight room, new kitchen area. Our new training rooms are great. It came out wonderful. We actually didn't have a major league kitchen. We only had a kitchen on the minor league side. Ben would have to bring the food over to the major league side. It was a small room where all the guys couldn't come in and eat. So they've got now a commercial grade kitchen. A lot of meals. Guys get here at 5 in the morning. Don't get out of here when the games start until 6 in the evening. So they're preparing great food. They have a great kitchen to do it in. And it's a comfortable place for the players to sit down, kind of socialize, eat good food. It's worked really well. It's great. The clubhouse and the kitchen were for comfort. This is for function. We had 1,200 square feet of weight room before the renovation. Now we have 6,300 square feet of weight room. So when we have 70 guys in major league camp, we have 150 guys in minor league camp. They can work out together. These are HydroWorks. We have it on both the major league and minor league side. Big hot and cold plunges, so guys hop in the hot in the morning, kind of get the body loose, get it going because we start so early. Then we have a cold plunge, sits at about 52 degrees for recovery. A lot of our players, especially with the legs, are jumping in there. And then we have the HydroWorks underwater treadmill. So we're actually doing rehab in there. It's a full-size treadmill. You can actually put 4 guys on, run at the same time. You can raise it up so they're running in ankle-deep water, take it all the way down so they're neck-deep water.
Well, Jamie, great job being the brains behind this, and thanks for showing it off.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it. Thank you.
Boy, that is a great looking facility, too. Isn't that something?
That's like, I can't even comprehend the facilities here. Thinking back to Pompano Beach. The only water that I saw in the clubhouse, in Pompano Beach, Florida, was in the ocean.
Yeah.
We might have one whirlpool, a shower that could fit maybe 6 guys in it. Just unbelievable how the facilities have changed and what it's like here for the
you might have seen some water. You'd leave the sprinklers on overnight and get in the clubhouse that way. And as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning, we have a very special guest joining us just out of the ball game. The Rangers shortstop Elvis Andrus is joining us. Elvis, appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Getting in the ball game, you've gotten off to a very quick start swinging the bat down here. Anything different this year as opposed to, say, last year? That ball's hit well to center field. And it is out of here. Drew Robinson leaves the yard. His first home run of the spring. It's a 7-2 game. Drew Robinson showing some pretty good pop, driving it out to dead center field. Elvis, back to what we were talking about as far as your spring training. You've gotten off to a very quick start. Is that happening by design? Did you really come in with your mind made up that was going to happen?
Well, yeah, every time you come to spring training, you want to start good, you know. It makes everything easier for your mindset. But now, you know, I feel really good. I've been working a lot in the offseason, working on my swing, stay in the middle, see the ball travel. And, I mean, so far, everything I've been trying to do, you know, I accomplished that so far.
Elvis, the camaraderie in the clubhouse and the chemistry in the clubhouse has always been good here, but Buzz and I have only been here a little while, but everybody we talk to says it's never been better than it is right now. Is that what's going on in the clubhouse and how well you guys are getting along together?
Yeah. I mean, we're really having fun. We're enjoying right now. We have the same team from last year, and the last 2-3 months, from the whole year, it was amazing. Everybody who came, to the team, personality-wise, everybody, everything fit perfect. So right now we just continue to with that mindset. We're staying together as a family, and believe me, we have fun every single second for sure.
One of the new players is Ian Desmond. How's he fitting in with everybody?
Perfect, man. Really positive guy. Wants to work, wants to learn everything. He wanted to come here. He hears so many good things. So it's always good, when you see players that want to play with you, they want to be part of this family. And so far, he adapting pretty good.
Elvis, was it kind of a learning experience for you guys going through the last 2 months of last year, turning things around, figuring out, we were down in a hole, but we found a way to get it done? Is that something you can carry over to this year?
For sure, man, and that's what we want. We want to carry the same energy, that we have the last month. I think that, playing together and playing a little bit more right now is going to help us. It's just going to continue to help us stay together and learn about ourselves and support ourselves. So, we accomplish what we want in spring training, and, we get ready for the season.
Elvis, you were a young player at one time trying to make the big leagues for the first time. There was a number of really good young players coming up at the same time. When you look at the young players that are trying to break into the major league level this year and next year, are you pretty impressed with the level of talent that you see?
For sure, man. They're smart, but they're ready to play, man. They're here for a reason, and they're not scared. They love the challenge, and they know they deserve to be here too. So, they're making it hard for everybody here, and that's what you want. They're really great kid, talented kid, but they wanted to play. They want to go out there and face everybody.
You're a pretty big guy, but some of those guys must make you feel like a little shrimp.
Yeah, man. Especially Masada, so young. That guy can hit, man, and he's amazing. So far as spring training, he's the young guy that impressed me the most. How, talented, or how calm he is, hitting and playing defense. So, hopefully we see him pretty soon in the team helping us.
Great.
Elvis, as the veteran now, if you will, you take more of a leadership role. I know you and Rougned Odor talking a lot. Are you kind of taking over a mentoring role with him too?
I mean, I don't like that word, first of all. I'm still too young to name myself veteran, but yeah, Roogie, we have a good. Jesus, it's raining in here in the club, in the dugout. No, I'm saying that, me and Roogie, we have a really good relationship. I love that kid. He brings so much to the table, so much to the team, and especially what happened with him last year, going down to AAA, fix everything and come back and having an amazing season. So, I always like to, help him to get the best talent that he can get, because, when you get the best for every young guy, in the end, they're going to help you to win games.
So I have to ask you a question. It's not really related to baseball, but, you guys have a pretty good reputation with the star of the game dumping something on top of his head. I'm interested to know if over the winter you've been trying to come up with something new, maybe a new plan to celebrate the star of the game afterwards. If not, then that's my challenge to you, to see if you can come up with something unique. Be the only team that does it.
Well, we got something new. Okay. I got something new already. So
good.
Cannot say it right now.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
It's a surprise.
I hope on opening. I hope it's Beltre on opening day. Game winner. He's standing there outside the dugout, and Buzz and I are going to be saying, "Here it comes. Elvis has got something new planned. We want to see it."
I already talked to Roogie. He's my partner in crime, and I talked to him a little bit. Kind of tell him what I have in mind. So he agreed with, and it's all about the team, man. It's all about keep it loose and just enjoy it.
Good. I'm all for it. I can't wait.
Elvis, thanks for taking the time. We'll let you out of there so you don't get pelted anymore by your teammates, but I really appreciate it. Keep it going. It's been fun to watch this spring.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Elvis Andrus joining us, and Rangers have made some noise here in this inning. They have driven Jose Quintana from the ball game, put up a run, and now Delino DeShields trying to drop a bunt down against the new pitcher, Tyler Danish. And it just rolls foul. Danish 6 foot, 200-pound right-handers from Florida. White Sox took him in the second round of the 2013 draft. Last year with AA Birmingham, 26 ball games, 8-12 as the start of the entire time. 90 strikeouts in his 142 innings of work. One ball and one strike. Delino DeShields 0 for 2 against Quintana. The Rangers were blanked the first 3 innings as far as hits were concerned. They got one man on and an error. Then they got a couple of hits and a run in the 4th. And then Drew Robinson started this 5th inning off with a home run. Pedro Siriaco drove Quintana from the ballgame with a 1-out double. Siriaco with his lead out there at second, peering in. Pick off, and they got him. A time play. Tyler Danish, Carlos Sanchez, and they timed that extremely well.
That was perfect.
Yep.
Perfect throw, too, right on the bag.
That's kind of the way you draw it up. You see that executed with that kind of timing in spring training quite a bit because you work on it every day. And you forget about it once the season starts. But, boy, what a valuable weapon that is to be able to pick somebody off, especially second base. Get him off out of that run-scoring position. So that is out number 2. Base is empty now. The count is 2-1 to DeShields. Now 3-1. Delino 5 out of 12 in the young spring. Full count. Now Delino been a lot talked about his physique this spring. He's put on some weight, and most of it has been upper body weight. He said he worked a lot on his core and upper body strength, and he's kind of kidding you today. It looked like he's completely ready to have 35 or 40 carries in a ball game. And just in time, nice play by Frazier. He can still get down the line if you were wondering about Delino DeShields, but not quite quickly enough that time. Rangers get a run on 2 hits, nobody left. After 5, 7-2 Chicago.
This tradition definitely started.
Well, $10 Tuesdays. Those Tuesday home games this year. A new plan for you. $10 in select seating areas, plus $10 meal deal, $10 parking, all on Tuesday nights for you. That's an exciting brand new ticket special for 2016. Just visit TexasRangers.com/specials. Get your $10 Tuesday tickets for opening night. That's Tuesday. April the 5th. Well, Elvis signing a few autographs on his way out. He is finished for the afternoon. Hanser Alberto has come in to play shortstop. Rangers making a couple of changes as we head to the top of the 6th inning. And A.J. Griffin pulling the string on that breaking ball. It's a strike to Jerry Sands. That's one of the things that Griffin, now that I see him again, reminded me of what he was able to do when the Rangers saw him a couple of years ago. Boy, he really changed speed so effectively. And that big breaking ball, it's tough to throw for a called strike for most guys, and they don't work on it that much. But Griffin likes to use that in his repertoire, and he's good at it. And Delano DeShields, Shin-Soo Choo all down there. Then happy to sign autographs for you. This is something you don't are able to see in the regular season because the accessibility to the players is not there. But in spring training, you can get up close and personal with your favorite players almost on a daily basis.
My son brought his kids to spring training this year. Both of his boys are really into baseball card collecting. And the little one's only 5 years old, so he can't read the names on the cards. So he's lined up while the Cubs were finishing up their game. And there's 3 Cubs getting autographs. Kyle Schwarber was one of them. Forget who the other 2 were, but he didn't know which card was theirs, so he was just handing them random cards to sign. And one player signed it, the other 2 players wouldn't sign it because it wasn't their card. He didn't quite understand that part.
No, he keeps it simple. Any card would do. I mean, it's a baseball card, right?
Yeah. He zeroed in on who it looked like, but he wasn't quite sure if it was actually them or not.
Hawkins fouling it back. Had a chance to see Ranger third base coach Tony Beasley this morning. He was coming out, and was Tony undergoing some chemotherapy. Was battling rectal cancer. He looked great. Spirits were high, and just tough to tell that Tony was doing anything other than coming to the ballpark. He was happy to be here. Everybody's of course glad to see him, and our thoughts are certainly with Tony as he fights this thing. But he said he's feeling really good in the early going. Just he's not able. His energy is a little bit low. He says he's not able to do justice to coaching third base. So Spike Owen is filling in over there for him. But Tony hopes to be able to get this behind him and work on from here. Well, a great guy and a very upbeat personality. 2 gone here in the 6th inning. Tyler Saladino, the shortstop. A ball and a strike. Saladino today is grounded out and struck out. A.J. Griffin working in his 2nd inning here this afternoon. Two and one. Now 2-2. Out on the grassy berm out there, left center field. A lot of great viewing areas here at Surprise Recreation Campus. Are you as amazed, Tom, as I am about how much of this has grown out here?
Yeah, the whole area.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day nowadays, it's hard to get up and down some of these streets. There's so much traffic.
Desmond retreating in left, but he's going to run out of room, and that ball is well back over the bullpen. A home run for Tyler Saladino, his 2nd of the year, and it's an 8-2 Chicago lead. Saladino becomes the first White Sox player with multiple home runs in 2016. He crunched that one. White Sox now with A couple of home runs today, 14 for the spring. Saw the reaction from AT Griffin. That's probably about all you need to know. Get a slump of the shoulders and a hang of the head.
Yeah, he got a fastball to hit that time. Fastball out over the plate. Wasn't able to get his curveball over to put him away with a pitch before it. Changeup. Boy, his changeup looks exactly like his fastball. Yep. He's got great delivery and motion with his changeup.
0-2 pitch. And Jacob May takes it high and tight. May this afternoon has doubled and twice has grounded out. Just missed low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. White Sox 8 runs on 9 hits today. Rangers 2 runs on 4 hits. The only error in the ball game committed by the White Sox. Count is now full. So A.J. Griffin, some other pitching information to give you. Cole Hamels worked in a B game today. Worked 3 innings through 44 pitches. Gave up a couple of runs. May gone on strikes. A run on the Saladino home run. Nobody left after 5.5. It's now the White Sox 8 and the Rangers 2.
Hi, Rangers fans. Welcome into the Fox Sports Studios. John Radigan, Chuck Morgan, the director of In-Park Entertainment and the voice of Globe Life Park in Arlington, with more about some of the great giveaways this year, Chuck.
We're excited about the promotion schedule this year. How about May 14th? We're playing the Toronto Blue Jays. Rugned Odor bobblehead brought to you by the great folks at Dr. Pepper. I think the fans will like that one right there as he's sliding into home in his road gray. And then every Thursday is a Throwback Thursday at Globe Life Park. How about the pin series? Every fan's going to get a pin on Thursday nights, from the great folks at Papa John's. And then on Friday night, John, Friday night fireworks.
So every Thursday you could get a pin, and it's a different pin each Thursday. And, of course, every Friday, as always, it's fireworks set to the music that Chuck Morgan helps to select. So it's a great place to be each and every night, but certainly each and every weekend. Now we say back to baseball and go Rangers.
All right, John, thanks. And the Rangers want to remind you that they would like to help you renovate or refurbish your baseball or softball complex, or even get new equipment with the Globe Life Texas Rangers Baseball and Softball Grant Program. We know that a lot of fans have been affected by the flooding and storms around the area, and our thoughts certainly with all you folks, and we encourage you to apply if your fields have been affected by the bad weather. Eligible organizations in Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arkansas, and Louisiana can apply at texasrangers.com/grants. And the applications are due by June 30th. What a great program that is. And the need certainly continuing to grow with all the tough weather that the area has been experiencing. Rangers would like to help out, and that's been a great program to get the complexes in playing shape and get the youngsters back and playing with good equipment also. A new pitcher on the hill now for the White Sox. It's Tommy Canley, the former Colorado Rocky. Canley, hard-throwing right-hander, 36 ball games last year with the Rockies. Worked 33 innings. He had 39 strikeouts. Opponents hit .250 against him. One of the acquisitions the White Sox have made to bolster that bullpen. Lewis Brinson getting his first at-bat of the afternoon, taking over for Shin-Soo Choo last half inning. Brinson, one of the young up-and-coming Rangers. He shoots one right down that third baseline that's just a bit foul. 0-2. Brinson last season with AA Frisco, a .291 average. 23 RBI as a member of the Rough Riders. Just a 21-year-old out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And he has gone on strikes here as Hanley breaks off a pretty good breaking ball. One gone.
At third base, Carlos Sanchez. At second base, Steve Lombardozzi. Tim Anderson is the shortstop. First baseman, Nicky Delmonico. The fielder, Ian Desmond.
Well, it'll bring you up to Ian Desmond now with one out and the bases empty. Desmond got a rocket off of Todd Frazier's glove last time up for a base hit. Really a good line drive hitter with power. Better than 20 home runs, 4 years with the Nationals. Pretty good power to virtually all fields. Up the middle, that's going to find its way into center field. So Desmond with his second hit of the day.
Pitch hitting with the Rangers, number 99, James Jones. Pitch running at first base, Patrick Kipman.
If you were going to add a player, an offensive player, it's really good that he's a right-hand hitter. That just gives the Rangers great opportunity to mix up the lineup so you don't have to back up left-handed hitters side by side, which kind of sets up the bullpen late in the game to bring a lefty in to face all those left-hand hitters. But having a powerful right-hand hitter to mix in, huge advantage for the Rangers this year, and someone of his Ian Desmond's caliber, even better.
Patrick Kivlehan, the pinch runner now, taking over for Ian Desmond, and Kivlehan no doubt will head out and play left field defensively. James Jones is the hitter, pinch hitting for Adrian Beltre in the DH spot. What a good rip there, fouled it straight back. Jones coming over as part of the Tom Wilhelmsen deal. The offseason, Leonis Martin going to Seattle. Last year, Jones spending most of the year at Tacoma, the AAA affiliate of the Mariners, hit .272. On base percentage, though, very encouraging at .365. And I say that because Jones is very much a speedster. You get him on base, he can do an awful lot of things for you. To the left side, cut off nicely, and they get the force at second base.
Well, that's a spectacular play right there. Tough play in the hole. Tough to get anything on the throw. And then the second baseman, Lombardozzi, had to come across the bag, catch it on a short hop, and keep his foot on the bag. Beautiful play.
Now that you can understand now why the top-ranked prospect in the White Sox organization is that man right there, Tim Anderson.
It looked like Patrick Kivlehan thought that ball was going to go into left field. He started to take a turn to go around second base.
Yeah.
I think he was surprised that Anderson was able to come up with that ball.
Now Hanser Alberto with his first at bat of the afternoon. James Jones at first, a pretty good lead. 2 balls, no strikes. Conley back to the plate. And the flip to second, the force, and the Rangers are gone. No runs, a hit, and 1 man left. We finish 6 in Surprise. The White Sox 8, the Rangers 2.
This is the time.
changes as we head to the top of the 7th inning. On the hill now, we have the left-hander Yohander Mendez, who becomes the 5th pitcher for Jeff Bannister's club here this afternoon. Mendez last year at IA Hickory. 21 ball games, went 3-3. Very fine 2.44 ERA, and opponents hit just 230 against him. Well, he takes the place of A.J. Griffin. Griffin went a couple of innings, gave up the 1 run. That was a Tyler Saladino home run. And we will go to work here in the top of the 7th. Lots of changes. We'll try and catch you up with them as soon as we get them all together. First ball swing, Sanchez, and Drew Stubbs, the center fielder, over toward the gap, makes the haul in for out number 1. Next will be Steve Lombardozzi.
Second baseman Steve Lombardozzi.
Lombardozzi, one of the more veteran infielders brought over by the White Sox. White Sox, of course, lost Alexi Ramirez, and part of their infield depth that they had. So they brought in guys like Lombardozzi, brought in also Brett Lowry and Todd Frazier. Kind of revamped the entire infield, with the exception of Jose Abreu at first base. Mendez knocks it down and probably took a play away from Hanser Alberto. Alberto had to reverse himself, and the ball was slowed down enough. He had no play. That's going to go as an infield single.
Yeah, we see that play a lot during the course of the season, a play that the shortstop probably going to have a play on, especially someone like Alberto. But it's tough for the pitcher to ignore his instincts and try to catch the ball coming back to him.
No, 1 on, 1 out. And the pitch in for a strike. Nicky Delmonico, coming up from Double-A last year, came off a 238 average. 3 home runs in Birmingham. Mendez missing inside, 1 ball or 2 ball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Excuse me. Mendez with a good move to first.
That was a good move. Picked me off.
You know, a lot of times, especially in spring training, you'll have that umpire call a balk because he got picked off. So wait, if I didn't see it, that's got to be a balk. Breaking ball hangs high and tight to Delmonico. Mendez, he is 21 years of age, out of Valencia in Venezuela. Rangers signed him back in 2012, non-drafted free agent. And they turn it. Second, and Alberto turns it over. 4-6-3, nicely done by the Rangers. No runs, a hit, and nobody left. We'll take the stretch here in Surprise. It's the White Sox 8 and the Rangers 2.
If you love family fun,
So you're still in the market for opening day tickets. Here's one way to get them. How about a 10-game plan that offers you opening day for free? Get 6 different plans, and they are available starting at just $160. Visit TexasRangers.com/10-game plans. Buy yours today. Sun-bathed crowd out here this afternoon. It has been all White Sox, however, on the scoreboard. 8-2, Chicago. Rangers come to bat here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Kellen Deglin with his first at bat of the afternoon, taking strike 1. Deglin last year split time between High Desert and Frisco. 2-hopper taken care of for out number 1. So Deglin grounds out.
Third baseman number 38, Doug Bernier.
And now Doug Bernier coming up. Bernier taking over at third base for Drew Robinson. White Sox 8 runs on 10 hits. Rangers 2 runs on 5 hits. And that in itself is news, because this Ranger ball club had been leading the world in batting. They led the major leagues in both hits and on base percentage, along with having the highest batting average as a team by better than 30 points. 338 average. The Dodgers were second at 332. Bernier lines to left for out number 2.
First baseman at number 70, Alex Berg.
And that'll bring up Alex Berg. Rangers taking the opportunity to get some of the minor league guys in the ball game this afternoon. We heard John Daniels, Rangers general manager, talking about the first round of cuts, even though there'll be small ones coming tomorrow. But they'll come hot and heavy in the next couple of weeks as the Rangers pare down to where they have to be going into the season.
Yeah, generally, Buzz, it seems to work out that once the minor league games start, the minor leaguers report to spring training a little bit later than the big leaguers, so their games start a little bit later. So once some of the good young minor league players that are in big league camp have their teams AAA, AA start their games in minor league camp, then they'll report there so they can start playing every day, get ready for their minor league season. Until that time, they're getting some playing time here and getting some great experience just being involved in the big league atmosphere.
Pretty good sinking fastball from Canley. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Berg. That is out of play. Two outs. Bases are empty here for the Rangers in the bottom of the 7th. Full count. Payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Nope. Dropped by the catcher Smith. Well, Berg with new life. Just a very slight breeze that drifts out toward right center as we play a very comfortable afternoon. The temperatures in the low 80s. Supposed to climb up a little bit tomorrow, maybe into the mid 80s, and back down over the weekend. Another 3-2 pitch. And Berg gets the walk. That's the first walk the Rangers have been gifted this afternoon. No, one on with 2 outs. Edwin Garcia taking the first pitch high for ball 1. Garcia, 25-year-old. He was at 4 different levels in the Ranger organization last year. And he lines one to left, but right after left fielder. That will do it. Well, the Rangers get a 2-out walk, but strand a runner. We finish 7 here in Surprise. It's the White Sox leading 8-2.
Southwest flies lots of
beautiful cobalt blue skies overhead here in Surprise, Arizona. White Sox laying it to the Rangers here this afternoon. 8 runs on 10 hits for the White Sox and 2 runs on 5 hits for the Rangers. So the trio of pitchers for the White Sox, started by Jose Quintana, really cooled off the scalding Ranger bats. Now Yohander Mendez back out to the hill. He will work his 2nd inning here this afternoon. Kevin Smith leading things off. 1 ball, no strikes. Apparently Robin Ventura doesn't believe in making it easier on the broadcasters. He, instead of making all the changes straight up to where they bat in the same batting spots that the person who they replaced defensively, he's moving them all around.
Yeah, the Rangers make it easy. When you see a guy go on in defense, you know where to write him down in your lineup because he's going to take the same guy's place. These guys are different, though. Not to mention the fact that Kevin Smith has a different number than he has in the program. So he's hitting in a different spot in the lineup with a different number.
He's afraid Bill Belichick's scouting this.
We found him, though.
Yeah, we did.
No, Bergie, no.
That's out of play on the right side. Berg over to take a look, but it's back into the seats, and the count is 3 balls and 2 strikes. Kevin Smith last year at AAA Charlotte, a .260 average. To right field, Brinson. Out number 1. It looks like under Mendez, had a pretty lively arm. Left-hander that, he has that moving fastball that almost every left-hander is born with. He's got pretty good stuff.
You ever have anyone explain to you why a left-hander's ball tails and a right-hander's doesn't?
I've had left-handers explain it to me.
Well, I mean, someone that you could understand what the explanation was.
No,
that just baffles me.
Yeah, I know it.
I mean, a body's symmetrical. One guy throws from one side, one guy throws from the other side, and most left-handed balls tail away, and most right-handed balls don't. Baffling. One of the great mysteries of baseball.
Yeah, it is. It is. If you could figure that out, you could make a lot of people happy because a lot of folks.
Well, they got all these analytics. There's got to be some young kid that knows how to figure that out. I'm waiting for it.
Tim Anderson, the hitter. Anderson, as we talked about, made that great defensive play last half inning, but this is a young man who the White Sox are very confident is going to be the shortstop of the future. Burke with his back to home plate. That's a great catch.
A play.
Alex Burke, back to home plate, hat coming off, hair flying all over the place, reaches up and does a great impersonation of Willie Mays.
Well, Alex is going to get a chance to watch that tonight on all the highlight shows. That's a great play. Back to the plate, reaches up to his left and stabs it.
Goodness.
That ball's going to fall in on most first basemen for sure. That's a beautiful play.
I'm going to put a couple stars on that one.
No doubt.
My book. No, that is out number 2. Jerry Sands this afternoon got off to a terrific start of the ball game. He had 4 RBI in his first 2 at-bats. A home run accounting for 3 of them and a sacrifice fly. He is 1 for 2 officially today. Sands now 3 out of 15 for the season, for the spring season. Mendez missing a bit low. It's 2-1. Good changeup. Used to say the curveball was the equalizer. I'm starting to believe the changeup might be the equalizer for most guys.
I wouldn't argue with you on that.
Tried it again and missed outside. The count goes full. Mendez, the 5th pitcher used this afternoon by Jeff Bannister. Payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Mendez gets the punch out of 1-2-3-8. 7.5 in the books. It's the White Sox 8 and the Rangers 2.
I am Ryan Smith.
White Sox 8, Rangers 2. Pittsburgh, that great back-to-home plate catch going away, and he was trying to tell some folks how he did it. They weren't having any part of it. They couldn't hear it. That's all right. Rangers come to bat here in the bottom of the 8th, and the new pitcher is Nate Jones. Nate Jones, the 30-year-old right-hander, working his way back from Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago. Got into 19 ball games last year, and his first foray back after surgery at the major leagues. 2-2 mark with a 3.32 ERA. Those 19 ball games, all in relief. The first pitch to Drew Stubbs is in for strike one. Drew takes a little bit low. Stubbs, the Longhorn X. All-American down in Austin. Look out. 2-1.
Jones has a little bit of an unusual delivery, the way he takes the ball out of his glove, the back of his head like that, doesn't he?
Yeah, kind of a hesitation back there as his arm comes up. I can't remember if he, quite honestly, if he did that before he had surgery or if that's something that he adopted to take the strain off his elbow. I can't tell you which. It hasn't improved his control, though. I can tell you that right now. Drew Stubbs would testify to that. 2-2. Got him swinging. He rushed it up there, though. Out number one. Jones with a strikeout. Lewis Brinson now with his second time to the plate. Nate Jones appeared in as many as 65 ball games for the White Sox. 2012, he went 8-0 that year with a 2.39 ERA. All that out of the bullpen. 71 innings. And then the next year he appeared in 70 games, went 4-5. So 135 ball games over a couple of years, and then the elbow decided to take a hiatus. Anderson on the outfield grass makes the grab for out number two.
The fielder, number 67, Pat Kivelhan.
No bases empty, 2 away. Pat Kivelhan getting his first at bat. He entered the ball game as a pinch runner for Ian Desmond. Kivelhan, the Mariners organization last year. Pops that one up, shallow center. Anderson calling everybody off, and the shortstop makes the grab. A quick 1-2-3 inning for Nate Jones. Rangers gone. We have finished 8 in Arizona as the White Sox by 6.
This is the
Second surprise. It is an 8-2 Chicago lead as we head to the ninth inning. And hard-throwing right-hander, 24-year-old Connor Sadzik is on now. Sadzik, last year at High Desert and Frisco, appeared in a total of 18 ball games, 3-2 in those two stops. Worked a total of 60 innings. On now with an electric fastball, the way I've heard it described. No power shortage for this big right-hander. He goes 6'7", weighs 240 pounds. Out of Barrington, Illinois. Pitched out at Howard College out in Big Spring, Texas. Some college ball out there, and he committed to the University of Texas to continue his college, but then signed. He was drafted by the Rangers in the 11th round of the 2011 draft. Sadzik missing inside to Courtney Hawkins, the DH, for ball one. Ouch. I think it's warm out here because that was right on Hawkins' fist. One gone. So Sadzik gets the first man he faces.
Yeah, that ball had some good movement on it, tailing down and in. Hawkins, former #1 draft choice. The Texas kid. Played the whole game in the designated hitter spot today.
One ball and no strikes. Sadzik back to the plate. And a foul ball makes it 1-2. Not Connor Sadzik is David Walker is the hitter. Sadzik he wanted to have one of the drawbacks had been his control, and he hasn't exhibited too many of those problems down here in spring training so far. It's the fly ball for out number 2. Sadzik, since signing in 2012 with the Rangers, has pitched 254 innings. He's walked 139 and struck out 200. That's not the kind of ratio you'd like to see, but
no, but you know, it's something to work with.
Yeah, sure is. Couple that with an upper 90s fastball, and you've got some.
He doesn't exhibit anything in his delivery that would lead you to believe he's got a control issue, does he?
No, he's a big guy, and that's usually big guys take a while to figure things out, get their mechanics. I mean, you look at a guy like Randy Johnson, who it took him 5 or 6 years at the big league level to finally dial in. But once they do, look out.
Pretty good overhand curveball he just dropped in there. A little bit out of the strike zone, but move that along with an upper 90s fastball. You got a pretty good start to being a pretty good reliever. Ouch again.
And Handler Alberto takes care of Jacob Mays' check swing ground ball. 3 up, 3 down for Sadzik. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. 8-2 Chicago.
36 hours.
It's everybody's favorite. A Wednesday tradition is back at Globe Life Park, Wednesday, April 6th. It's the first Texas Chili Company Dollar Hot Dog Day of the 2016 season. So get to Globe Life Park for the last game in the opening series against the Mariners and enjoy all the Texas Chili Company hot dogs you can eat for just $1 each. Visit TexasRangers.com for tickets.
Leading off the Rangers, the designated hitter number 99, James.
Here we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Crowd's starting to thin out a little bit. Nearly 4,000 people on hand here this afternoon. A lot of folks out on the grass berm enjoying the brilliant sunshine. Rangers will come to bat here as James Jones will start things off. Michael Inoa is the new pitcher for the Chicago White Sox. Inoa, a big guy, also at 6'7". He is 210 pounds. He is a 24-year-old out of the Dominican Republic. Originally with the Oakland A's organization. They signed him as a free agent, undrafted free agent back in 2008.
Yeah, he was one of those, I think at the time he might have been the highest priced Latin signing. I think he got somewhere around $4 million to sign. It was a huge signing for the A's, a team that hasn't been noted as that type of an organization will go out and spend that much money for a young Latin American player.
He got as far as Winston-Salem, the A stop for the Oakland A's. He worked almost 200 innings in the minor leagues in his career. He has struck out 208 in 199 innings overall. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Jones gone on strikes. Inoa strikes out the first Ranger that he faces. And now Hanser Alberto will come to the plate once again. You know, we think of Alberto as primarily a defensive guy, but he went down to the winter ball this last year and led the league in batting.
Yeah, I think there's some times in Ranger past where he'd be pretty much penciled in as a guy you'd be happy to have as your shortstop.
Yeah.
A number of years we'd love to have had someone like that for a shortstop.
Yeah, the shortstop is the hands have always been his biggest asset as far as the projections. But if he can lead, I don't care if you lead little league in hitting. If you're doing that, you're doing something right in batting.
Yeah, and the Rangers will have to make a decision on him. Is he better in the big leagues as a utility player, or is he better in the minor leagues playing an infield position on an everyday basis? He's shown he can play all 3 infield positions, so he's a very good utility player. Then you look at the Rangers right now with Odor, with Elvis, with Gallo, with Beltre. Is he going to get a chance to play every day for the Rangers in the next couple of years? He could if there's an injury, but with the same cast of characters, it's unlikely that he's going to play regularly.
Right.
Therefore, do you groom him to be a utility player? I don't know the answer to the question, but that's the things that the Rangers will ask themselves, that John Daniels alluded to in their meetings. How do you want to use him? Can Pedro Siriaco be a very good utility player, and that would allow Hanser to go down to the minor leagues and play every day? We'll see how that plays out.
And in the mix also, you've got a guy like Jurickson Profar, who Kenny Rosenthal mentioned earlier too. That's a situation where for Profar's betterment, you almost have to let him go down and play every day, don't you?
I think so for sure. He's got to go play all season in AAA. You don't know what's going to happen in the course of a season, but missing 2 seasons, to go down there and hopefully stay healthy all year, play 125 games, get 500 at bats, hit 320 or 330, and that's exactly what they need. Exactly what he needs, I should say.
Right.
Put himself right back in position to be a regular in the big leagues.
Kellen Daglin 0 for 1 this afternoon, grounded out to second, his only time up there.
And the other thing that has always been the case with a pennant contending team, if you have a surplus of talented minor league players, then it allows you to make the kind of trade the Rangers made last year for Cole Hamels, and maybe there'll be that same opportunity sometime this year. And if there is, the Rangers will have some pretty good chips to play.
And Deglin lines out. That will do it as the Rangers come up short here this afternoon. The final out in the 9th inning, and that seals a White Sox 8-2 win. Well, we'll come back to Surprise Arizona to wrap things up for you right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.